What happens when the version of someone you believed in turns out to be incomplete? That's the question shaking the foundation of Port Charles in the May 4th for 8 preview of General Hospital, as Carly finally does what no one saw coming. She tells Jack the truth. Not a softened version, not a filtered explanation, but the raw, unedited reality he has been avoiding all along. And once Jack hears it, there's no going back. Because some truths don't just change opinions, they destroy illusions. General Hospital video preview. May 4th to 8, Carly unleashes the truth on Jack. In Port Charles, truth is rarely simple. It's layered, delayed, and often shaped by fear, loyalty, and survival. People don't just hide the truth. They shape it, bend it, and sometimes bury it so deeply that even they start believing the alternative version. But during the May 4 to 8 preview week, Carly reaches a breaking point. And when she finally speaks, she doesn't just clarify a misunderstanding. She dismantles Jack's entire perception of her. This is not a conversation. This is a reckoning. The build-up. A tension. Long in the making. Jack and Carly's dynamic has never been straightforward. From the beginning, there has been a push and pull between understanding and misinterpretation. Jack sees Carly through a lens shaped by confidence, chaos, emotional intensity, unpredictability. But that lens has always been incomplete because Carly is more than reaction, more than impulse, more than the storm people assume she is. And over time, that misunderstanding begins to strain their dynamic, not explosively, but steadily, like pressure building beneath glass. Carly's breaking point. Carly is not someone who reveals truth easily. She protects, she deflects, she controls the narrative when she needs to. But in this upcoming arc, something shifts. The weight of silence becomes heavier than the consequences of truth. And that is when Carly decides, enough. This isn't about strategy anymore. It's about honesty, or at least her version of it. The moment she tells Jack everything. When Carly finally confronts Jack, it isn't casual. There is no easing into it, no gentle build-up. It is direct, unfiltered, and deeply emotional. She tells him what he has been missing, what he has misunderstood, what he has chosen not to see. And in doing so, she forces him into a position he hasn't experienced with her before. He can no longer interpret her. He must accept her words as reality. Jack's shock, the collapse of assumptions. Jack's reaction is not immediate acceptance, it is disruption. Because Carly's truth doesn't just add information, it removes certainty. Everything Jack thought he understood begins to shift. Her motivations, her decisions, her emotional responses, her role in past events. He starts replaying interactions in his mind, looking for patterns he missed, searching for meaning where he assumed there was none, and the most unsettling realization begins to form. He may have misunderstood her completely. The emotional weight of truth. Truth is not neutral in this storyline. It carries emotional consequences. For Jack, hearing Carly's truth is not just informational. It is destabilizing because it forces him to confront his assumptions, his biases, his emotional interpretation of her actions, and perhaps most difficult of all, the possibility that his perception of Carly was shaped more by expectation than reality. That realization doesn't come with clarity. It comes with discomfort. Carly's perspective. Control through honesty. For Carly, revealing the truth is not about surrender. It is about control. Not control over Jack, but control over the narrative. By speaking first, she removes ambiguity. She defines her version of events before others can define it for her. But that choice is not without risk, because once truth is released, it no longer belongs to the speaker. It belongs to interpretation. And interpretation is unpredictable. The shift in their dynamic. Before this moment, Jack and Carly operated in a space of partial understanding. Miscommunication filled the gaps. Assumptions filled the silence. But now that dynamic shifts because truth eliminates ambiguity. And without ambiguity, there is no room for projection. That creates tension. Because what Jack sees now may not align with what he expected, and Carly must face the consequences of being fully seen. The fragility of perception. One of the central themes of this storyline is perception. Jack's perception of Carly has always been layered. Part observation, part assumption, part emotional interpretation. But perception is fragile, and Carly's truth exposes that fragility, because it reveals that what Jack believed was stable may have been incomplete all along. Emotional fallout begins. Even after the truth is spoken, the impact continues to unfold. Jack doesn't immediately respond with resolution. Instead, there is silence, reflection, emotional recalibration. Because truth doesn't resolve instantly, it reverberates, and in that reverberation, uncertainty grows. Did he misjudge her? Did he misunderstand her intentions? Or what does this mean for their future interactions? These questions don't have immediate answers, and that lack of resolution is what drives the emotional tension forward. Carly's vulnerability beneath strength. What makes this moment especially powerful is that Carly is vulnerable in a rare way. Not weak, but exposed. Because telling the truth removes her usual defenses. No deflection, no manipulation, no control over interpretation, just honesty. And honesty, in Port Charles, is rarely safe. Jack's internal conflict deepens. As the preview week continues, Jack is left navigating internal conflict. He now holds two competing realities. 1, his long-held perception of Carly. 2, the truth she has just revealed. These two versions don't align easily, and reconciling them becomes his central struggle, because accepting Carly's truth may mean admitting that his understanding of her, and perhaps others, has been incomplete. The ripple effect beyond them. This isn't just a two-person dynamic. In Port Charles, nothing exists in isolation. Carly's revelation to Jack has the potential to ripple outward, affecting alliances, reframing past events, changing how others interpret Carly's actions. Truth, once released, spreads, and with it, consequences follow. Why this storyline matters. This arc is powerful because it explores something universal, the gap between perception and reality. It asks, how well do we truly know the people we think we understand? How much of our interpretation is shaped by assumption? What happens when truth disrupts emotional narratives? These questions elevate the storyline beyond drama into psychological depth. The turning point moment. The May 4/8 preview marks a turning point not just in the plot, but in character relationships. Carly's decision to speak truthfully shifts the foundation of her dynamic with Jack. There is no returning to the previous state of misunderstanding. Because awareness has changed everything. Even silence now carries new meaning. Even memory becomes reinterpretation. Final thoughts. Carly unleashing the truth on Jack in General Hospital is not just a dramatic moment. It is a structural shift in storytelling. It breaks assumptions. It challenges perception. It forces emotional recalibration. And most importantly, it leaves both characters standing in unfamiliar territory, where nothing is fully certain anymore. Because once truth enters the equation, illusion doesn't survive.